Hi, I'm a whole day late. I meant to do this yesterday, but there was other activities yesterday. And anyway, better late than never. I want to say, first of all, that the Lord of the Second Advent is never going to come on a cloud. This is figurative. Jesus was born on the earth in spite of the prophecy in Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. Jesus himself said that all the law and the prophets prophesied until John, which means that this Daniel 7 prophecy refers to Jesus and not the Lord of the Second Advent. So we have to be very clear that a lot of things in the Bible are spoken figuratively and not meant to be taken literally. Jesus said, for example, that he came to cast fire on the earth and he wished it were already kindled. This is figurative. Fire is God's word. Okay, so also the cloud is figurative. I can explain about that in detail another time, but what I want to talk about today is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, which is evoking the Messiah, and more particularly the Lord of the Second Advent. But looking at Judah, Judah is guilty of sexual impropriety. When I'm saying to my Christian friends that Sun Myung Moon is the best candidate for the Lord of the Second Advent, if the Lord of the Second Advent is truly born on the earth and not coming from some cloud of heaven with a trumpet call of the angel, but they say that Sun Myung Moon is guilty of sexual impropriety. Well, actually, then so was Judah. He had a relationship with his daughter-in-law. And if you read the story, it's in Genesis chapter 38. Very interesting story because Judah gave Tamar to his eldest son, but his eldest son was displeasing to the Lord, and so he was killed by the Lord. And also was given to Tamar to give descendants or offspring for his brother on his behalf, but he didn't want to do that, and that was displeasing to the Lord, and he also was killed. And his third son, Shelah, Judah's third son, Shelah, was promised to Tamar to fulfill this kind of obligation which they had at that time. But then Tamar realized as Shelah grew up and grew to the age when he could become a husband, that he was not given to her by Judah, because he was afraid that his third and last son would also be killed. And he kind of blamed Tamar for this. So he was going to go to some place, and Tamar knew about this, so she behaved or dressed up as a prostitute, and basically lured Judah to have a sexual relationship with her. But Tamar's motivation in behaving in this way was because she valued and treasured the lineage of Judah, the seed of Judah. She valued this because she recognized these are God's chosen people. So what she did was not some casual thing. She did it at the risk of her life. And she managed to get some tokens from Judah in lieu of payment, which was his ring and a cord and his staff. And she took these as a surety for the payment that she demanded. But then, of course, she disappeared. And when Judah brought the young goat as payment for this sexual union, then they couldn't find her because he didn't even recognize that she was his daughter-in-law. So the children that came from this, I'm jumping the gun. Yeah, first of all, after 3 months, she became noticeably pregnant, and it was brought to the attention of Judah, and Judah basically said, take her out and burn her, because that's what they did in those days. And then Tamar basically presented these things which Judah had given to her when he didn't realize it was her, and he thought she was some wayside prostitute, some harlot. And she presented the ring and the staff and the cord and said, the person who did this to me, these things belong to him. And then Judah recognized that these things were his, and then he recognized also that Tamar was far more righteous than he was. in doing what he did, and then of course he never had sexual relationship with her again. And the children that came out from this are so interesting, that when she was in labor and giving birth, a hand came out, and a red cord was tied around this hand to signify this is the first one, but then this hand was withdrawn, and then the other baby came out first. So it's like really, really interesting. This is like a restoration of Cain and Abel within the womb, which basically made the womb of somebody standing in position of the Eve basically purified. This is like some basic condition which was necessary to bring about the condition for the Messiah to be born. Also from the tribe of Judah, the house of Judah, if you will, came King David and also King Solomon. And also it was prophesied that the Messiah would come from the house of Judah. So it's very, very interesting that even though Judah behaved in this kind of way, because it was done with Tamar's sincere heart, and also at the risk of her life, and also that Judah recognized that, Tamar was far more righteous than him, then this became a condition which God could accept. Otherwise, how could King David come from this line? How could King Solomon come from this line? And also that the Messiah would also be born from this one. So if you look at the lineages that are written in the Bible, in the book of Luke and in the book of Matthew, then you'll see that Tamar is one of the ancestors. So this is very interesting. So we have to look basically at this point, that this basically the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and if you look at Judah, then he did this thing, he had a sexual relationship with his daughter-in-law. And if you're basically discounting Sun Myung Moon as the Lord of the Second Advent because of perceived sexual impropriety, then you have to be aware that from the point of view of God, this reversal of the fall is some very, very significant condition. Reverend Sun Myung Moon, the Lord of the Second Advent, stated unequivocally that he never misused his sexual organ, because a lot of people misunderstand that the Messiah, Lord of the Second Advent, basically has to deal with the fall, which is basically sexual impropriety from the first human ancestors. And because of this, all humanity basically became separated from God and became kind of like zombies, kind of like the living dead. So the Messiah has to deal with this. And of course, Satan is going to accuse the Messiah of, sexual impropriety, and make this kind of accusation. And if people can really understand what is the will of God and sincerely pray about this, then they have a completely different viewpoint about these kind of things. So if you really want to find out about the Lord of the Second Advent, then I would recommend you to study what his teaching is, first of all, before looking at what other people have said about him. I've got, books that are so-called anti-moon. I've got Bad Moon Rising, In the Shadow of the Moons, The Moon is Not the Sun. I've got all this kind of stuff, and they're basically flawed. And I can go into that another time too, and I'm totally prepared to defend anything about this. But if you really want to find out about Lord of the Second Advent, you should read about, first of all, what he's teaching. And this is in the Exposition of the Divine Principle. Exposition of the Divine Principle you can download as a PDF from the internet. You can buy a copy from Amazon. I think Family Federation for World Peace Unification, they're still selling this book. I bought one for about $20 not so long ago. And if you read this, then you can evaluate yourself, this teaching is valid or not. It's basically making sense of the Bible and taking all of these figurative, literal things and basically making a clear, unified story out of the Bible, which is really, really clear and really, really logical and rational. So yeah, please check this out. The Lord of the Second Advent has come already. Please stop looking to the sky. Please stop singing. He's coming soon. Already the Messiah has come. Check it out, won't you? Thank you.